Not at all. It was the most clunky kind of character transition I've seen in a long time. They don't give any real serious explanation for Adrian's character development. For Sarah's, it's the damn weirdest thing, because we're given these hints that Sarah had this incredibly horrible childhood. We take time to show us that Sarah had this really shitty room that her mother kept her, that her mother made her sleep on the floor, and there was a bucket in the middle of the room for God knows what, and like she had a really abusive childhood. We're not entirely sure what happened or why, and we have no idea what this means for the character now. Sarah's motivations throughout the entire film are confusing as hell. I have no idea what she was trying to do. Sorry if I get into a lot of long pauses here. Yeah, the child abuse subplot meant nothing. It meant nothing. We spent like altogether about 15 minutes on it, and it doesn't add up to a thing. I guess we're supposed to use that as the reason why her character gets so cold in the final third of the film, but that doesn't make any sense. That stuff's already happened. Why wasn't she cold in the first 2/3 of the film? There's no trigger for her to suddenly get all cold and all that stuff. Best thing I can consider is, I think the filmmakers wanted us to think that Sarah was treating Dren, the creature, as a pet at first, but then grew bored with her in the same way like a little girl wants a pony, and then she gets a pony, but then she grows bored of the pony. I think that's what they were intending, but that's not what they pulled off. I don't know what they were trying. I don't know. And like I said, Adrian's character development really doesn't make any sense either. And unfortunately, things get really predictable in the end. The final 10 minutes, it basically becomes a really shitty monster film. It basically throws everything out the window and says, let's just go all out and start killing things. And it's really predictable because throughout the movie, things are happening to the two her animals that the two scientists made earlier. And since these herd animals are made from the same genes as Dren minus human, you know that everything that's gonna that happens to these animals is going to happen to Dren. So, the final revelation, which is supposed to be this the final surprise, okay, not the final surprise, but the big twist 10 minutes before the end of the film, you know is coming at some point because it happened to the two creatures at the midpoint of the film. So, there's no suspense in that. And the monster film stuff is stupid. There's no suspense in it. It's just kind of stupid. And the final twist at the very end, right before the credits, is just downright retarded. Particularly if you know anything about science, anything about genetics. I know it's wacky scientist time, but no, not buying it. I didn't come out, I'll say I came out disappointed, because this is probably the first thinking science fiction film to come out this year. And what I mean by that is unless I'm forgetting something, every science fiction film that's come out this year have just been science fiction action films, without any real thing to think about, or really simple things to think about, like Avatar. And the rest of the film devoted basically to robots and aliens fighting. Actually, there hasn't been a lot of science fiction films at all this year. I was kind of looking forward to Splice. Like I said, some of this might come from my predisposition from just not liking this kind of plot. I think it's kind of insulting, especially when it's done uncreatively without any additional thing going on. And this doesn't really. The special effects are okay. Whenever they would do it was weird because Dren has weird arms and weird legs, and when they do close-ups of the arms, it's really convincing. That's really good CGI work to do the weird monster arms. But when we look at her, get a close-up of her legs, especially when her feet are touching the ground, you got a slight hover during the close-ups. Maybe I'm too technical on that because I have studied a lot of special effects. It's getting a little weird in my history, but anyway. So I kind of have an eye for this kind of thing. But it didn't really mesh well, and it was kind of weird because if the hands work, why don't the feet work? Anyway, not much else I can get into without spoiling huge plots. Would I recommend it? It's probably the best film in the theater right now. This has been kind of a weak film year thus far. Don't if you have to choose between it and Marmaduke and the Killers, choose this. But you're not gonna get anything amazing. So, okay. Yes, I am now going to switch this off, and I'm going to turn it back on and talk about a completely different subject, which I'll probably post a few days later to space these out. So, see you later.